Hello and welcome back. We're now on the properties lesson. So we went through a few properties in the previous lesson, but we're going to go into a bit more detail this time. So if we open up the form, as you can see, we've still got the button. And because this is selected, you can see the different selection options for resizing. So it's always a good way to know what you've got selected. You'll see that the dots are around it. Now, you might have noticed if you keep an eye on the size property that when I was resizing this, it changed. So you can do that via the designer, or you can do it manually if you wanted, and it'll update there and reflect what you've changed. Another good thing about this is you can change the colour of the form. So if you wanted it a bit more colourful and not a boring grey, you can set the back colour. And then we've also got a text property. So in VB6 you might have known this to be the caption property. So there are changes between VB6 and .NET. So you've got to do some research and find out what the differences are, or hopefully I'll tell you them all in the video. But as the fact that says form 1, you can actually look down the properties and see, for instance, the name of the form is form 1. And also the text is form 1. So if we change this to my first program, it updates automatically. And if we were to build and run this application, we'll wait a few seconds and see that when the application starts, and I move the pop-up over, we now have a new title for my first program, which makes it a lot easier for the user to know what application they're using instead of just form 1. Next step is buttons. So button isn't particularly helpful as a name, or button 1. Again, that has a text property, so we can give the user an instruction of click me. You can also change the fore color of that text. So if you wanted something ghastly, you could make it red. But as you can see, there's different properties on there. Now, the name of the button is button 1. You may see different people coding. They may start it with BTN, so button click me. I do like to prefix them, but Rich prefers to have button at the end. You might be familiar with his naming conventions from Access. So form ends in F, query ends in Q, buttons end in button. So we'll keep it with Rich's naming convention for now. I may in the future just by default name it with the BTN, just because out of habit. And when you start up the program again and click me, the button still works. Now, in previous versions in VB6, renaming an object would sometimes break the code, and that is because the handler would expect that the name of the button event is the click me button _ click. But what happens with the newer versions now is if we go to the events tab, you can see that the click is linked to the button 1 click. So this does still work. Now you could rename this to click me button and save it, but then if you go back to the button, double check that the click event has updated automatically. And then if we run it again, we can confirm that this has worked. And if you click me, it's now working again. So it's just something to double check, that sometimes when you're renaming controls, the bindings may break. So it is a lot better now at handling renames both on the form and the code behind, but if you're ever in a situation where you've renamed something and you click on the button, or you're expecting an event to run and it doesn't, double check a few places. So does the handles have the right name? Does the event link correctly with the events that exist? But yeah, we've just changed a few properties on the form and made the form a little bit more user friendly. That's it for this lesson.